Well, it's a beautiful day here in Southern California, and I am in the Yuha Desert, and Regina and I are in the van. And well, if you remember, we had some challenges in the van recently, and to be honest, kind of lost a little bit of our confidence in an off-road. But hopefully, over the next couple days, that will change, because we are heading out with our good friend John and his wife from Agile Off-Road, and John has a lot of experience wheeling a Sprinter van, plus his is really well built. So I'm going to be paying very close attention to how he maneuvers that thing out on the trail and keeping an eye on some of those mods he did, because maybe we need to do some upgrades on this one later on. But overall, our plan is to just go out, have a good time, do some camping, eat some good chow, and explore Southern California desert. Let's go. Today we are kicking off our multi-day adventure in the Yuha Desert, which is situated in Southern California just south of the town of Ocotillo. The landscape of this area is stark, yet captivating. It's an arid terrain with very unique geological features. Vegetation here is sparse, consisting mainly of hardy desert plants that have adapted to thrive in the challenging conditions out here. This harsh yet beautiful scenery of the Yuha Desert, combined with its historical and biological significance, makes it a fascinating destination for anyone looking to explore the raw beauty of the California desert. Plus, this area is renowned for its rich cultural and prehistoric archaeological sites that bear testament to the region's ancient inhabitants. And one of our missions today is to find one of those sites a bit later. But first, we have some other items on our agenda. Okay, we've only been on the trail for just a short little bit, but the one mission that I didn't share with you is that John and his wife are planning this big event. And so what we're going to be doing over the next couple days is helping them find a really good route for the convoy they're going to be bringing here, and finding good camp spots like this one right here. Over the next couple days, we're going to be scouting some trails. We don't really know the entire route. We're going to kind of play it by ear, which should be a whole lot of fun. Now, the truth is, John really doesn't need my help scouting this region. He knows this area very well. I was just looking for an excuse to hit the trails with him so I can observe how he manages his rig on the trail. Plus, Regina and I just wanted to spend some time with him and his wife at camp. Now, prior to coming out here today, we swung by Agile Off-Road and we did a quick upgrade on our van, adding the rear Agile double shear bracket and the AO Fox 2.0 rear shocks. John recently did an upgrade on his suspension, so these are the takeoffs from his last setup, and Regina and I are happy to have them, because with these larger tuned Fox shocks, we both noticed a significant difference in just how much less sway the van now has. Excited to see how this handles over the next couple days. So we just stopped for a moment here, guys, because there's all this desert rock art over here on the side of the trail, and we're like, that's interesting, let's just stop and check it out. And it looks like somebody's been having a little bit of fun trying to be artistic. Rock cairns are used to mark trails, and every park has its own rules about cairns. The general rule is to leave no trace, so if you see these, don't disturb it or knock it down, but also don't add to it. I'm curious what your thoughts are on these. I suppose I don't mind them in off-the-grid spots like this, as long as they are in small quantities. Over time, the elements were going to knock these over and erode them away regardless. All right, so we've been out here in the Yuha Desert for about an hour now, following John and his wife around, and he really gets after it in that van, doesn't he?
Yeah, you had to remind me that my tires aren't as big and my suspension isn't as good.
Yeah, he's a little taller and he's definitely a lot more confident in that thing. But I guess this is good, right? This is good to follow him, and it's going to help build our confidence. How's it feel driving?
Good. I'm just like, okay, did I bump something too hard? Am I going to break something? Do we have a trail of diff fluid leaking behind us? Yeah, I think the differential will always be in the back of our minds, even though we have it all fixed and a new cover. Right.
Now, we are on our way to a really unique area out here. It's a big old oyster fossil bed. This used to be under ocean. We're gonna go check that out. We'll definitely show you. There's hundreds and hundreds, thousands of the fossils. Well, here we are, and from a distance, it's hard to tell, but this area is covered in fossilized oyster shells. That's what these dark objects are on the surface of the sand. Once you get up close, you can see there are many sizes and preservation states of these oyster shells, and these provided valuable data for interpreting the past sea levels, temperatures, and ecological conditions for researchers when this area was discovered. As we stand out here today, it's almost unimaginable to think that this was once an ocean bottom. It's a powerful reminder of the Earth's dynamic nature and the ever-changing conditions. Okay, time to get back on the trail, and then just one more stop before we need to start looking for a campsite that's going to accommodate a large group for John's upcoming run. We made one more quick stop at the Yuha well, and looking at it, it just doesn't look like much at all. But historically, this was a vital water source in this dry landscape. For centuries, this served as a lifeline for the Native American tribes inhabiting this region, and it later became an important essential stop for Spanish explorers, missionaries, and settlers traveling along the old Anza Trail in the 18th and 19th century. Today, the Yuha well stands as a historical landmarker and a reminder of the resilience of those who once called this place home. Now it's time to begin navigating our way north and saying goodbye to the Yuha Desert. But as we made our way out, our route became a little more challenging as the sand became softer and deeper, neither of which are favorable conditions for a heavy sprinter van on only 32-inch tires.
All right, guys, we've come to kind of our first little obstacle today. It doesn't look like much, but it's actually some deep sand. We kind of lost momentum and the tires started spinning. Couldn't go forward, couldn't go back. You were giving it the beans.
Yeah, it didn't have any beans to give.
Yeah, so now what we're gonna do is, we had the locker installed, so turn on the air compressor.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Now turn on the locker.
Okay.
And let's see how that does.
Forward or backward?
Let's go forward. All right, see if you can go backwards. There you go. Now a little momentum forward. That's good, that's good, that's good. Now a little momentum forward with the locker on.
It starts getting traction and it starts spinning. And it no longer puts power.
All right, guys, I'm just gonna take a little bit more air out of the tire. It should help with traction as well. Hang on, is four-wheel drive, is the light on?
Now.
All right, now guys, we got four-wheel drive, locker's on. She's gonna give it some momentum and we'll see if we make it through there. All right, you got it, girl. Keep the tires straight. You made it.
I did. Thank you. Thank you for your tips.
Okay, John, can you talk a little bit about why you told her to go into two-wheel drive?
So unfortunately it was probably a little bit too late, but sometimes when you get, even if you're in four-wheel drive, the front starts losing traction and now it's trying to continue to give it more power and it removes it from the rear. The four-wheel drive is actually working like it has an open differential in the center. So it'll spin the front tires and no power to the rear. Just like you're stuck in the rear end and you don't have your locker engaged in the rear, one tire is just spinning, same principle's happening. Front spinning and no power to the rear. But back there you had even distribution on all four tires. The four-wheel drive pulled you back and then you just had the right momentum.
Is there going to be a test on this later?
Probably.
Probably, yeah, there's more sand like this.
Bring your number 2 pencil.
Okay, I will do that.
This was a good lesson for both Regina and I on keeping our momentum going when we are in the van. But we also had the low ground clearance kind of playing against us. John's van is lifted and has slightly bigger tires, so it was no problem for him. Thankfully, this is great peace of mind being out here with someone we can learn from, and we can push the van just a little bit to find out its limits. Oh, and that won't be the last time we will have challenges out here.
All right guys, we just turned off the dirt and we're gonna hit the pavement here for a little bit and go start looking for camp. There's a little wash not too far away that's got some nice little areas next to some canyon walls, which should be really nice. You've been behind the wheel all day, hon.
Yeah.
And it's been very interesting. How was that experience?
That was embarrassing. I mean, I got stuck. I lost my momentum. My little Jeep would have just flown right up it, but this.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem, is you have to give the different mindset when you are in an 8,000-pound vehicle with smaller tires.
How much does my Jeep weigh?
About almost half of what this thing weighs.
Okay.
So it's a lot of weight. It's a different wheelbase. There's smaller tires. He was saying if you see yourself coming up to an obstacle in two-wheel drive, just turn the locker on and that way it'll get you right up it. It's almost like doing it on the fly. I'm sure the next time we are in the deep sand in the van, Regina and I will manage it much more efficiently. And speaking of sand, we just turned off the pavement and back onto the sand. We are passing by a large wind turbine farm, and wind power generates over 20% of the electricity here in San Diego. And a fun fact, scientists at the U.S. Naval Academy recently discovered that the bumps on the front edge of whale fins greatly increase their efficiency, reducing drag by 32% and increasing lift by 8%. So companies are starting to now apply those concepts from the humpback whales to the idea of wind turbine blades with the hopes of making them more efficient. Now you know. Not long after driving into a deep desert wash, we found a great campsite. And a quick tip, sometimes it's helpful to put rocks under your tires to help level out your vehicle at camp, but when you are in the sand like this, it's actually easier to dig a small hole and then drop the tire in. Works perfectly. This campsite is perfect for us, but it's also large enough that John believes it will accommodate his group perfectly when he comes out here. This is a great find, and I'm going to be marking this to maybe come back again another time soon. Well everyone, we made it to camp. Got a nice little tucked away section here in this little canyon with the rocks. So if it gets windy at all, we'll have some blockage from the wind. We're gonna relax, enjoy some chow, and just have a great evening. We got a lot more exploring to do tomorrow. What you cooking, hon?
I am making an Asian-inspired chicken noodle soup.
That sounds good. I don't think we've ever had soup at camp before.
We have not, and it's a good thing that John and Karin had some sequels because we have noodles. Always learning what we don't have every time. At least we have utensils this time,
right.
So you know that's a start.
This soup was so good, and it was the perfect meal to end the day, and I may have had thirds, it was so good. Regina and I both really enjoyed spending time with John and Karin, and we had some great conversations late into the night. Well, good morning, guys. What a beautiful morning. The sun is just coming up, starting to warm up a little bit. We had a little wind last night, but it's dying down. John has been over here cooking up breakfast. Smells like eggs and potatoes in there, and I've got coffee. It's just a great morning. Now, yesterday was an awesome day. We learned a lot about our Sprinter van and really kind of understanding how to drive it through the sand and up hills. You know, it's not a Jeep. It functions a little bit differently. And so being out here with John yesterday, Regina and I just learned a ton, and we're looking forward to learning more today. But I will say John's got a little bit of an advantage. One, he's been wheeling this van for many years. Two, he's got bigger tires. He's got that Agile off-road rip kit lift system on there, and plus he's got something that I really want to do, and that he has just kind of cleaned up the underside of the Sprinter van. We got hung up a little bit in the sand yesterday, and I think having just a little bit better clearance underneath would have been super helpful. So we're gonna be watching him closely today, and going forward, we're gonna be figuring out what we need to do to our Sprinter van to be able to keep up with him. This really was the perfect camp spot, and the trail we're heading out on today is easy, scenic, and it runs along the old Impossible Railroad tracks for a little bit. So I'm sure John's group is really gonna enjoy this route. I know we're enjoying it this morning.
Well, I think John is putting his suspension and our suspension to the test today.
Yeah, slow I don't think is in his vocabulary.
No. So John used to be a racer. He used to race in Baja, so he is...
You can tell.
You can tell. He likes to cruise down these trails pretty good. His suspension and tires are soaking this up a little bit better than ours, but you're keeping up. I mean,
I'm doing my best. I'm getting a feel for how this is going to go over certain parts of the topography, so I'm knowing when to slow down and when I can speed up a little bit better than I was.
You use the locker one time up a little climb, but no problem. Haven't got stuck yet, and we're sort of keeping up. So we're having some fun.
Yeah, no, his tips yesterday were like super helpful, like when to like turn off the ESP, when to use the lockers, when to watch out for bumps like this. So I'm feeling definitely a little bit more confident.
Good.
In order to piece together a good multi-day route out here, it does require getting back on the road for just a few miles, but it's totally worth it because the next section of Desert Trail is one of my favorites. This area winds through some incredible scenic canyons, and I love this place.
So we've been talking about how fast he's been going, how capable he is. I wanted to see when we stop if he's willing to maybe let us drive his van and just see what it feels like and see how much more different it is.
Do you think you trust us? We're kind of like the newbies here.
Definitely newbies in the Sprinter van. I feel like our confidence it's growing.
We're usually the ones flying up ahead, and when we have new folks with us, we're waiting on them, and now the roles are totally reversed.
Yeah, John's waited on us a few times already this morning.
Yep.
But I think it would be fun to drive his van and see how different it performs versus this one.
Is that like an indication that you're going to be going with bigger tires and new suspension?
I mean, I think we have to.
Of course you are.
Just up the trail a bit, and there is a small little climb and a pretty rutted out and steep descent. Okay, maybe it's not that rutted out or that steep, but I'm taking baby steps here. I just want to get a feel for how the van performs through this.
All right, and now for the descent. Descending is always interesting because you don't have quite as much control because you're sliding, and 4 low in this thing is just not, I mean, it's really nothing. You can definitely feel some good flex and articulation happening. From the outside, it probably doesn't look like much. From the inside, it feels like quite a bit. So a little slide, and I can feel that tire come up. Yeah. It's good. It's important to do this stuff to understand the capabilities of the van, and so that's a good little test of what it can do. So that's good. I'm glad we stopped and did that for a minute. All right. John's brave enough to let me drive his van. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
We got the pups in here. So what year is this one, John?
21.
So it's just 1 year earlier than mine.
Yeah.
But you've got a newer suspension. Talk about what's on this right now.
This is our rip kit, and then this one has some bypass shocks on it.
Yeah.
Box. So bypass shocks, if you're not familiar with them, they allow fluid to bypass in a certain area, so they're position sensitive. So in theory, at ride height, it should be a little bit better here, and as you get into a G-out or heavy articulation, we'll get into a heavier damping.
Guys, I want to share with something. Last night we had some great conversations around the campfire, and you were sharing some stories from your race days, but I didn't know this. You used to work for a couple shock companies, and you used to build and tune and valve shocks.
Yeah.
So guys, when he's building these suspension kits for these vans, he knows what he's doing. All right, we're gonna pick up the pace a little bit. You okay with that?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see how this feels. Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you can kind of get after it.
That was pretty smooth. Well, you've been getting after it all day. Regina and I have been talking about that, like all day long, you've been getting after it. But just right there, guys, I guarantee when Regina went through that, it was definitely a little bouncier. This feels much more planted. Okay, so there we go. I've just been cruising along, and I've already lost Regina. We gotta wait. Yeah. We gotta wait for her. So that's it. That's proof is in the pudding that I'm feeling more confident to just go a higher speed. And she's gotten a lot more confident in that van, but she's having to slow down even through that stuff. So that's pretty interesting.
I think this shows it's not only important to build the confidence in your driving, but also in the van by understanding its capabilities and limitations and having it properly modified to handle this rough terrain.
All right, guys, here's a couple good little spots right here. This one is kind of steep, has some big ruts. This one's is a little flatter, but also some big ruts. I've come through here in my Jeep dozens of times, but we're gonna see how the vans do through here. So he's gonna be in two-wheel drive with the rear locker on. A little momentum, I think. All right, John, you made this look easy, and I've done this in my Jeep more times than I can count. But now I'm taking an 8,000-pound vehicle through here. We'll see how this goes. Ooh. I probably lost momentum there. I should have kept it going, huh? Now I'm digging now.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
I'm just used to 392 power, guys. That's the deal. There we go. Woo. That feels awkward. Oh yeah.
Right?
It feels awkward, but it did it. It's just about getting that acceleration and momentum right. And you know, sprinters, it's finicky.
Yeah. It's kind of anticipating.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, you're used to crawling.
Mm-hmm.
You are used to crawling in low range.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's the difference, I think, that because that's what I miss so much, not having my Jeep. You know, the Cherokee wasn't a huge low range, but
that was definitely two wheels.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you know, it doesn't feel like it's just
it doesn't.
tipping. It almost feels like it's
yeah. But you
like
can tell like right there, I was definitely lifted.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not crazy on stuff. Although we're not off camber, which is good.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
As the day wore on and we tackled challenges in the van with John to guide us through, our confidence in the van and our driving grew. But these weren't the only challenges. There were bigger ones to come. Well guys, we've been having a ton of fun today, and then going through this canyon. It's just a beautiful canyon because you have these massive walls on either side of you, and we just stopped here in the shade and have a little lunch and then keep on going. Again, we are trying to figure out a route that John can take a group of about 15 vans through, and so we're just trying to figure out what will work, where some of the stops are, and then where a good place to camp is. You know, you got a group of 15 vans, you got to find the right spot. So we're just having fun out here, exploring, having fun, and then, you know, going through those obstacles. That was a good experience. A few years ago, I did a large run with the San Diego Jeep Club through here. We had about 40 Jeeps navigating our way through this canyon. It's a great, easy, open area, and if you have a big group, it's nice because if you encounter vehicles in the other direction, there's plenty of room to pass, so you're not blocking the entire trail. When John brings his van group through here, he intends to avoid those ruts that we did back there earlier. That was just some practice for me. He wants to keep it nice and easy for his group.
All right, guys, as often happens out here in the desert. We took a wrong turn down a wash that looked like it was the trail, and now we are backing up. We are using side mirrors and cameras, and yeah, this is just how it goes sometimes, but we've got a little ways to get to where we were actually supposed to turn, and there's no room in this little wash to turn around, so
backwards we go.
Backwards we go. Okay guys, we are back on the sand. We just drove all the way up to the northern part of Anza Borrego, and we're gonna go out here and scout some other campsites because he needs a secondary camping place for his group on the second night. But right now, he said there's a mine down here, and we're gonna go see if we can get to it. He said the road to get to it's a little challenging, which might be fun. So again, we can kind of test out the Sprinter. But right now, I'm just trying to navigate this loose sand, which you've been doing all day. This is kind of my first time doing it.
Just another small rutted climb, and this time I made it up with no issues, except the one side step. These things are really starting to take a beating.
They were working hard in here, and this is some hard granite that they were digging away. It looks like it just ends just a short way down here, though. Yep. I guess I didn't find what they were looking for.
There are lots of old mines out in this area, and I honestly thought I had seen them all, but it looks like there's still more to explore because I'd never seen this one before. This section here is absolutely the steepest and softest obstacle we've encountered yet, and wow, I was struggling to make it up. I'm just so used to being able to crawl up stuff like this in my Jeep, but in the van, it doesn't crawl. You've really got to keep it moving. I was starting to think I wasn't going to make it up this one.
Yep. Whoa.
Yep. Oh, dude, that feels so fun digging this in. Yeah.
Guys, that doesn't feel good.
Well, it doesn't look like much from that angle, but that was the most uncomfortable I felt in the van so far, for sure. But a better line and just getting my throttle control right, and I went right up it. I think I should mention that our intention with the van is not for it to be a rock crawler. We've got one of those in the driveway already. When we plan trips in the van, it will be on easy adventures. But if we encounter obstacles out on the trail, knowing this van's capabilities will help us decide if we are okay to keep going or we need to turn around and not exceed our limits. The stuff we are doing out here today is not stuff we plan on seeking out in the future, but this is a good testing ground. Oh, and if you are struggling with traction and your tires dig a hole, it just takes a moment to fill them in.
When we were coming up here, I was definitely rubbing and pressing pretty hard on the side step, and now when we open the door, try to open the door slow, hon. It gets stuck right there. So there's another reason to get rid of these side steps.
I don't think.
That'll work.
Perfect.
All right guys, after a long day of exploring and wheeling and testing these Sprinter vans out, we are at camp for the night, and this is a spot I have come to many times. I really enjoy this spot. It's a quiet location, blockage from the wind, and John and his wife had never been down here, so this is the first time for them. And John said something about making his special chicken wings for dinner, so I'm looking forward to that. Hey hon.
Yeah?
What are you doing so intently in here?
I'm catching flies. See? They're all over. We had our windows down earlier and like they just swarmed in. So
Catching flies with a little dust buster.
Yeah, and then we'll release them. Totally humane.
Yeah, okay. So guys, we're super stoked on these chicken wings at camp. How cool is that? But one thing you may not know is if Regina was stuck on a desert island, the one food that she would want?
Hot wings.
Hot wings. So we gotta know.
All right.
They live up to your expectations. Oh, come on. Dude.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good.
So
Like, really good.
you guys are coming to the desert island with me?
Seriously. All right, so now we gotta figure out how to make chicken wings at camp.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
You're awesome, guys.
Will you share your recipe?
Thanks, John. Good morning, guys. What an amazing night at camp. And this morning I was up pretty early. I was up just about 5:30. Just a beautiful starry sky and very quiet out here. And I've had a couple cups of coffee. We've had some pancakes for breakfast, just some good conversation. And now it's time to start packing up. Before I hit the trail though, I want to share with you kind of my thoughts on where we're at with the Sprinter van. I mean, we've had this thing for a year and we used it in stock form and we realized that it needed some upgrades. And so we've done a few things. We upgraded the tires, so we got a little bit bigger tire. And then when we had that problem with the rear differential, Agile put a locker in there and a differential cover. And now again, we're out here kind of retesting it. And it's been so awesome being out here with John and watching his van go through some of these pretty good obstacles. They're not Jeep hard obstacles, but they're van hard obstacles. And watching how fast he is able to just kind of cruise along on the trail and really kind of finding our limits. The great thing is, in the way we sit right now, we were able to keep up with him. We were a little slower and we might have struggled a little harder through some of those obstacles, but we were able to keep up with him. So I'm pretty happy with where the van sits today, but I would like to be where he is at, to be able to push it a little bit harder, to go through some more obstacles. And so I think some of the first things that we're going to address here on the van in the very near future is, one, those running boards got to go. We got to relocate that exhaust and just kind of clean up the bottom so we're not tearing up the underside of this. Maybe some better skid plates, but I would like to modify the suspension. The shocks that we put on the back, you know, Regina noticed a difference. I noticed a difference. I think a full suspension all around would be great, and just a little bit bigger tire to give us a little more ground clearance. But all in all, I mean, we really enjoy the van. It's for a different type of mission, right? It's not for where we're gonna go with the Jeep and the trailer. It's more for just kind of a nice, easy, relaxing adventure like this one. So, more to come on the van. I think we've built our confidence up a little bit better, and we know what its capabilities are and where some of those limitations are, specifically with, you know, throttle control and all that kind of stuff. But we enjoy the van, and so we're gonna do some more adventures in it in the future. Okay, guys. I'm gonna enjoy this coffee. We're gonna wrap up and we're gonna head out of here. Thanks for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed this adventure. Make sure you check us out over at TrailRecon.com. Thanks for watching.